Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. I am back, and this is a brand new episode of Prehistoric Facts. And it's been a long time since I actually did an episode, and it was back in May, and it was outside and at the amphitheater in at the college that I'm going to school to study geology. And I mean, it was a good time. And hey, I still going there, and then passed my classes in the spring semester. I'm happy with that, and since I'm back from my South Dakota trip, and I get to tell you a little bit more, because about my South Dakota trip is because the questions are about my trip. So how about that? And and so I did actually find some good things, and learned a lot in South Dakota, and I got to see some places I have never been before. And hey, I got to have the greatest experience, probably one of the greatest experiences of my life. And I mean, hey, it's just a great thing to actually enjoy, and seeing a landscape I have never been before. It's just amazing. All right, let's get right to it with answering questions, shall we? Jill from Minneapolis, Minnesota. She actually asked me, was there anything you found, learned, or saw on your trip that surprised you? What and why? Well, this is a very good question. Probably because let me start off with what I found here. Is just that in the trip we did get to do some collecting, and so this was actually a good start. And what we did collect some minerals, which is basically elements of substances that are in a solid form, if you don't know what minerals actually are. And did collect some quartz, did actually collect a few other things. I probably found an agate, but I'm not totally sure if that is an agate. But I mean, I'll actually take a look, actually get a geologist to actually see if they actually can actually identify that for me. But they get to do some fossil hunting, and that's the one thing I've actually wanted to do. And so I actually get to show you guys some of these fossils, but I cannot give you the location, because you see, if I do give you the location, I could get in big trouble for that. So let's just actually but I am going to show you some of the fossils that I actually did find. And well, one of them I actually was given to. And we actually went to a place where it is Lake Cretaceous limestone and shale, which is actually marine environment kind of rocks. And one of these places we actually were going to hunt for ammonites. And if I don't know if you can tell here, especially how the camera is actually going to focus here. See this part right here? That's an ammonite. It's an ammonite right there, a coiled ammonite, and it's a great. One of the instructors actually gave me that one, because since he actually has a bunch of them already. So see if that would actually enjoy you. Hope you folks actually enjoy this. But also, here's actually kind of like the cast of an ammonite, and you can see this darker brown stuff. That's actually part of the ammonite shell. I mean, that is just a great thing. And that's a good thing that I actually found here, and I think that's actually a good specimen right here. And so you can see the ridges from the shell, and so it's actually kind of very cool looking. And when we actually did another spot that was actually the Lake Cretaceous shales, we actually did find some pretty cool stuff here. And here's something right here. If you can see this dark stuff right here, right in the middle, is actually, the instructor says it's probably bone, or otherwise it could be like a mineral replacement. But from what I've actually seen out of it, it looks like bone to me, because it looks like bone because it has the structure of bone. I'm actually going to see if I can actually try to get this identified and see if this is. But the instructor said it could be part of a turtle. Or otherwise, I might think it actually might be part of like a skull, probably a partial skull bone of a marine reptile. And did actually find some other stuff there. Here is a cast of a clam shell, and as you can see the ridges right there from the clam. And only, I think probably my greatest find right there in the shales is actually this, and it's gonna be hard to see, but I should probably turn it over this way. You can actually see it a lot better. And you can see here, this is actually vertebrae. This is vertebrae right here. This is actual vertebrae of possibly a fish or a marine reptile. And this is I can't really get this into a really good view here, but I mean, I think this is probably the best view you're gonna get here. You can see the spacing right there for vertebrae, and right down here, here's actually one of the bases of the vertebrae. It's kind of cone shaped right there, and I'm kind of having a hard time thinking this is actually fish vertebrae. I think this might be a reptile. I think this might be a marine reptile, maybe like a juvenile of a marine reptile, and all that kind of stuff. But it's actually pretty cool stuff there, and this one's actually going to be very hard to see for everybody, but even though I think it's actually going to turn out fine right here. Right there, you see this indentation right there? That's basically the crown of a shark tooth from the Devonian. And so Devonian shark fossils are very rare, and this is actually probably a cool find of mine too, because since I always wanted to find shark teeth in these deposits. But what I've learned out of this is that South Dakota is very, very diverse in terms of their rocks, and also the locations, and also the minerals and ages of the rocks. I mean, we actually get all the way from the Precambrian down all the way to the Cenozoic. I mean, it's just amazing. Amazing stuff. Sorry about that. That's actually my phone going off. I have the Velociraptor screech for my text messages. But it was actually a fun time. We camped out during this time, and we actually hitched in a tent. There was one campsite that had a teepee, but I didn't sleep in the teepee. I didn't want to actually have that kind of experience yet, but I think it's actually a pretty good place to actually do a lot of stuff there. You can actually do fossil collecting there. It's just that with marine reptile or dinosaurs, you leave them alone. That is basically that, because otherwise that's poaching. That's basically poaching fossils. So that's basically, you don't need to do that. And so since the instructor did actually give me leeway for some of these vertebrate fossils, it's because they're actually very small, and also they're very hard to identify. So those are actually going to be the ones that we can actually keep. Because if we found like a vertebrae of a plesiosaur or mosasaur, we would actually have to put it down. We would have to actually leave it at the site of where we actually found these fossils. It's because, you see, it's actually poaching, and it's illegal to take big vertebrate fossils out of the ground for citizens. In some places it is okay to take them. It's just that it's mostly illegal. So you're not really gonna get that much of actually finding that much of vertebrate fossils that you would like to collect. So the only best way you can do it is just basically is that if you did find something, you actually just have to call the park. You have to call the like the park services, and also like the geological surveys of South Dakota of the Dakotas, or otherwise Nebraska or Montana, to actually have the professionals take a look and actually see if you did find something that is actually valuable for them to actually kind of take out. And so that's actually basically that. But we actually did go to the School of Mines and Technology in South Dakota, which is in Rapid City, and that's a pretty cool. They have a pretty cool geology museum. I was kind of very impressed with that museum. And also I did actually went to Hill City, and we actually got to do some free time there. And in the first place I stopped was the Black Hills Institute of Geological Research Museum and Gift Shop, and that was the #1 place I needed to go in Hill City to actually see the T-Rex that I needed to see, Stan. And so anyway, I got that. That was just a great experience there. That was just a great experience. And I'd say probably what we've learned is that it was a long, treacherous journey, and it was just something that I'll always remember for the rest of my life. And I think it's just a great thing that I've actually got to do. I got to do some fossil hunting. I needed the experience of fossil hunting, because the only thing I ever did for fossils was actually like buying them out of collectors, and so that was pretty much what was actually going on for me. But I do love collecting fossil replicas of dinosaurs as well, because it's actually cheaper, and also it's actually, you don't have to deplete the source of the of the fossils, so it's actually much easier for people to actually just get replicas, even though they look like plastic casts of the actual fossil. But there's some of them that are actually very good detail. I mean, some of them have very good detail, and that's something you don't ever see out of some of the replicas. But I did get but at the Black Hills gift shop, I did actually get this T-shirt, and also I got excuse me here. I did actually buy a replica Nanotyrannus tooth, but also most importantly, I actually bought a fragment of a Tyrannosaurus Rex tooth, and there is serrations on this fragment, and I actually I'm just so proud of myself of actually buying that fragment of the tooth of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I mean, I think that was just the coolest thing. All right, Rini from Embarrassed, Wisconsin. What was your favorite part of your trip? My favorite part, I don't know. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I've been to great places in South Dakota, and our final place that we actually, and our final thing that we actually did on this trip was actually canoeing on the Niobrara River in Nebraska, and I got badly burned from that. So not burned energetically, burned skin wise. I mean, it was hot, and I mean, it was a bright sunny day, and I mean, if you don't wear sunscreen, you are going to get burned, and I paid the price for that. So so I paid the price for not being smart about my own protection from the sun. So I learned from that, and learned to put on sunscreen more often. But I would say probably the favorite part is actually get to see some of these state parks and national parks, because these are actually like places that I've always wanted to go see and all that kind of stuff. Like the Badlands National Park. It's just an amazing place. We did actually find like a disarticulated skeleton of possibly of an oreodont, and then an oreodont's like a sheep or goat-like animal that lived in the late Eocene and the Oligocene era, epochs, and these are kind of actually small mammals, and they're actually kind of leaf kind of like eaters. They don't eat grass or anything like that, because if they ate grass, they would ruin their teeth and they would pretty much die. But we can't. And basically, number one thing when you actually if you do find fossils, do not pick them up. Do not pick them up in these national parks and state parks, because it's illegal, and also you could actually get fined, and also possibly the national parks and the government could actually have you arrested for trespassing and taking possession of national property. So that is number one here. But it is great that we actually got to take pictures of some of these fossils that we actually did find, like in the Badlands, and also Toadstool Geologic Park, which is in northwestern Nebraska, and that was the place I actually did my presentation of geologic location for on this trip, and I was on fire finding fossils in that place. Found part of possibly of a long bone of Oreodont, and there's some fragments of bones, probably from from tortoises and some other mammals. I mean, they were almost everywhere. We actually did find trackways of ancient rhinos. I mean, that is just cool. And there was like specific tracks in that trackway. They actually have 2 toes, and basically it is actually going in a different direction from the rhino tracks, kind of going like in a diagonal kind of way. These were prints of an entelodont, and these are the giant pig-like predators like Archaeotherium, the hell pig. You know, that is pretty cool. I took a picture of that, and that was pretty cool. Excuse me. And the Black Hills was actually very fun too. I mean, Black Hills was just amazing. I mean, it's a national forest, and there's like many locations that you can go to. Devil's Tower was actually very cool too. That's in the corner of Wyoming, and we actually did get to that one corner of Wyoming where we actually got to see the Vor buffalo jump, and in Devil's Tower. That was actually pretty cool. Sorry, yeah. Just recovering from a cold. And also, since that the canoeing was actually kind of fun too. That was the final thing that we did. And I'd say this is the national parks and state parks were basically my favorite parts of the trip. I mean, those were places that I never got to see, and we did get to see Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore was actually very, very awesome. It was a rainy day, and that was the day we were collecting minerals, and we got pelted by hail on that day. So, and that was not fun. That was not fun at all. But also we actually did hike up Harney Peak, which is the highest point in the Black Hills. It was exhausting, I'll tell you that. It was exhausting. So, and it was just a great experience. No doubt about it. Alright, that's it for now, and next week, I'll actually have you guys actually decide what you want me to talk about. I can actually talk about the Black Hills Institute of Geological Research Museum, or otherwise, do the regular thing like I always do. Just do a special episode about a prehistoric animal. I'll let you guys decide about that. So I'll actually post on Facebook of what you want me to do, which episode you want me to do. Excuse me, I just gotta get water. Excuse me, that's better. And I'll let you guys decide which episode you want me to do. Either a special episode about a dinosaur or other prehistoric animal, or you want me to do it actually like an episode about the Black Hills Institute of Geological Research Museum. I can actually do that. There'll be an extra. So, and I've done an episode like that before about the exhibit of the ultimate dinosaurs in the Science Museum in Minnesota. So, whatever you want me to do, let me know. So, sorry, I'm not dying. I swear, I'm not dying. And just let me know, and make sure. But also, if you have questions about dinosaurs or other prehistoric life, feel free to email me at dinochrist71@gmail.com, or otherwise you can actually post the questions on the comments section of a Facebook post on the Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris, and you can follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL, lower caps letters, and @ at the beginning. That's my Twitter page. I post some pretty cool stuff on there, so hopefully you guys can actually follow me on there. And also make sure to take care of the people around you, and also make sure, and also for younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivation you can have for a good education. It's very important to have a good education, because with a good education, you get a good job in the future. Alright, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next week.